Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Clark Kent, what's happening?
Who it?
Clark over there, man, he all like plugged in, got earphones on, got the laptop going.
Professor glasses on, like he just in college, like just in school.
I would go old school cartoon. Simon Bar Sinister.
Simon Barston.
Simon Bar Sinister.
Ain't that's the with the dog?
Yeah. Underdog.
Underdog.
Yeah.
Underdog.
Simon Bar Sinister.
Underdog. I remember Underdog.
Yeah. Then he had the other guy, Whiplash.
Oh man, you brought back memories.
Dude,
That
man, it wasn't a cartoon I didn't know about,
Jesus,
man, back in
Underdog,
the
that was
day,
my-
man. Cartoons. Every third Saturday, man, in September, I'm there to be like beg my mama to give me some Frosted Flakes and let me do real
Sit
milk,
right in front of the TV.
real milk instead of pet milk.
Powder milk.
Powder milk. Oh man. So anyway, good morning. Oh man.
Man,
Whoa,
they don't make
dude.
cartoons like that no more, man.
Huh?
I said, man, they don't make cartoons like that.
You know,
anymore,
though,
man.
when Kennedy was little, I watched so much Paw Patrol.
Oh God,
I
dog.
watched so much Paw
Yeah.
Patrol, dude. Now with her mom and her uncles, they were watching
Blue's
Thomas
Clues?
the Train, Blues Clues, yeah.
Blues Clues.
And Blues Clues now is Bluesies.
Yeah.
Dude, we'd be sitting there and she'd come in and she has an attention span of a gnat.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, I want to watch Paw Patrol. Then we watch Paw Patrol. Then maybe 5-10 minutes into it, I want to watch something else. So I don't know how much of that was her feeling like she was in control of her little life.
Man, Powerpuff Girls was something that my daughter had me watching when she was little. Powerpuff Girls. I want to
Wow.
watch Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, she was.
Mojo Jojo.
And I hate to do this, man, but I do a recap of my weekend. Wow, Saturday was just rain, and then it rained. So I'm glad that some folks were able to get their events in. The
Yeah.
weather cleared enough for them to get their events in. I know the United Negro College Fund, it was raining so hard, but looks like Christian Faith got their event in. They were under a tent.
I mean, even if they was out in the open, they was just dipping people in the water. So
I don't think anybody got baptized.
You sure?
I don't know if they went in that water. That water was cold.
Hey, the blood of the lamb
Yeah,
will warm you up.
and the shivers. But part of Direct TV is that you get Hulu and you get that ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
So I was able to watch SummerSlam.
Oh, the wrestling.
Yeah, I had watched one of those main events. First of all, they were in the Minneapolis Stadium. I don't know if it's still the Metrodome. That building is incredible.
Oh, you're talking about
They
the
had
Vikings
2
play.
nights. Yeah, they had 2 nights where that place was sold out.
Oh, they made some money.
Oh, they made bank, man. Oh, God. And then usually when you do pay-per-view, you don't get commercials.
Right.
Oh, you got commercials with this. So
Yeah, 'cause
on
they
top of
paid
that,
ads.
yeah. So you had that. So I got a chance to watch. Did Roman Reigns win last night?
Yeah.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
I mean, it was
And,
scripted. Anyway.
Huh?
Nothing. Conspiracy with a J.
Oh man, come on, man.
You know
It is scripted.
It is
I was,
scripted.
It's entertainment, man.
and then Hell in the Cell. What's this? The African dude.
yeah.
He won.
Entertainment.
See, but it didn't used to be
Oh yeah,
like
he beat
it was.
Brock Lesnar.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he beat Brock Lesnar.
Now, I remember back in the day, and it was probably scripted then.
It's always been scripted.
Yeah, I mean, but it was covered up so good, you couldn't tell. So you didn't know who was gonna win those matches, like the steel cage matches and all of those matches, or the last man in the ring, or the Royal Rumble type thing. So you didn't know who was gonna win.
That one of the craziest matches I could remember. It was Hell in the Cell. It was the Undertaker against Mankind.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
And when
one
he
famous
threw him,
match.
man, through the top, he was supposed to body slam him on the top of the the cage.
Right.
The cage
Cage
gave.
Yeah.
And dude fell, looked like almost 50 feet.
Yeah, to the mat.
And the Undertaker said, I thought Mick was dead.
Yeah.
He got up, man. That was one of the craziest things like ever.
And that wasn't scripted.
No.
That
That was a malfunction.
Yeah.
And that was coming after Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, when the harness broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So man, but yeah, that was one of the craziest hells in cell I had ever seen, man. And there'd been some then they put the tax down. I mean, Mick Foley, you know, genius, dude's brilliant.
Yeah.
But man, he talked about put his body on the line. You know, now my favorite character he did, I love Mankind, but Dude Love. Dude Love is like one of the great wrestling characters of all time, man.
So whatever happened to the Ultimate Warrior?
Oh man, he
had passed away?
but yeah, he couldn't wrestle.
What?
He couldn't wrestle.
It
I
was
mean,
two of them, wasn't it?
right. I mean, Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan.
the one that wore the
Hulk
things on his
Hogan
arm?
got over because he was Hulk Hogan. He couldn't wrestle.
Yeah, but the Ultimate Warrior,
Ultimate wrestle, he couldn't.
I mean,
wrestle.
but he was winning though.
Yeah, because it's scripted.
He wasn't wrestling nobody.
But he had some nice moves though.
Well, he beat what it was the match though when he came in. He beat was it Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, he beat
somebody.
Yeah, he beat
Then
one
he
of
beat him
those.
like it's almost a minute into the match, but he
Yeah.
couldn't wrestle, and that was part of it. And then they said that behind the scenes, you know, he just wasn't with it. You know, they do it. God, I'm trying to think what it's called, the Dark Side of the Ring. And you get a chance to get into a lot of these backstories, you know, like they had to do who was the dude who killed his wife and
he
his
killed
son.
his wife and his son. Yeah,
And they got into his thing. Oh, Chris Benoit.
Chris. Yeah.
And they talked. And I remember when it happened, that happened over the weekend, that Monday, you know, they came out, they do it all this morning. You know, oh man, Chris, they didn't know what had happened.
So it was like the steroid use or something.
They said it was steroid use. Some
Yeah.
people said it could have been CTE, you know, because he used to do that move where he would come off the top rope and basically headbutt you. So the level of concussions. Here's something you don't see anymore in wrestling. You don't see headshots with a chair.
Right.
So they do it on your back.
So was that scripted too?
Yeah, but you know, they will
Feel
tell
that
you that
concussion.
the outcome is scripted. The moves are real.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
And what I mean by the moves are real is that you get out, like there's a way when somebody does a drop kick that, you know, you're able to put your arms up. And when you really watch it closely, you'll see that when they do it, there's a way that they do it in such a way it's not doing that kind of physical damage. But every now and then, things happen. Like I'm trying to remember who dropped Steve Austin, you know, because a lot of the wrestlers would have the oil on, you know, show their dimensions.
Yeah.
And they were sweating, and he slipped, and that's how he messed up his neck. That's why when I was a kid, for many years, the pile driver was illegal.
Yeah,
You know, because and what it was out of safety concerns for the wrestlers, because if they didn't do it right, that means that your head is coming down on the mat, is putting pressure on your spinal cord. You know, so a lot of the moves are real.
So do you know how many kids actually got hurt from actually trying to
Do the pile driver?
what they saw? Yeah, doing it on the bed,
Yeah.
playing and doing the pile driver and broke a neck and cracked a vertebrae or that's crazy.
Yeah, they used to do this disclaimer: kids don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't try it at home. Yeah,
Because you know these guys and the level of pain. That's why, you know, you hear a lot of them, you know, end up becoming addicted because they're addicted to painkillers.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, so I did get a chance to watch both Saturday night and the main event on Sunday night. Oh man, don't sleep on the WNBA. I'll say it again. These women were balling this weekend. They were balling this weekend. I think it's right now. Usually during the summer, didn't have anything. You had baseball, you know, and then football. Well, football season started. You know, people in training camp, and so yeah, the WNBA, man, is and I understand it, man. Caitlin Clark put meat in the seats, but there's some sisters out there like the probably the best player on the Indiana Fever is not Caitlin Clark. It's Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell be balling. Man, those games yesterday were so good. The LA Portland game was good. I'm trying to think who played the game before them. Was it because the Fever played Saturday? Yeah. So anyway, that was good. And about this, man. Who do y'all think gonna win the World Series?
Dodgers.
I
mean, and that's again, they need a salary cap, man. They need a real.
This phone is out.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
What?
When Debo can come in.
Yeah, we'll check it on break.
Okay.
Oh no, the phone not working.
Oh, it's not
either one of them.
No. This one
that
is.
one not. For some reason, they supposed to come in and fix it today.
So this one is over here though.
On my program.
It didn't work.
Yeah, it worked before.
As soon as he came in, it went off.
Come in, the phone's not working.
Yeah, it wasn't working.
No, man, but that's cheating, man. That's cheating, man. Bro, that's cheating, man. That's like playing a video game and you putting all players that's 99 because you go from 0 to 99 in ratings.
Why do you play?
To win. But
4-1-4.
When you in the league, though, when you in the league,
whatever.
When you in the league and you have
you in the wheelchair. I don't care if you blind.
Right. You can't see. I'm still gonna shoot the ball and go by you.
Ball you. Come on, man. Yeah, man.
They need a salary cap, man.
Okay, whatever.
No, they
so
do.
Let me ask you a question
cap.
right now. I've always asked this question. So when you're on the playground,
right,
and you picking the team,
I'm picking the best.
Okay, no salary cap.
It's a talent cap.
You gonna stack the team, right?
Yeah, but it's a talent cap though.
You go.
Let's see, because after a while though, you'd be like, hey man, let's split these teams up, man, to make it fair. Because we ain't everybody out.
No, we ain't.
Man, that's what we used to do.
No, we ain't. Well, that
the we were.
That must have been on. That must have been Thursday, because Sunday when the park is packed, so you just run. You load it up because when you sit. Oh, that's different.
Oh no, when the park is
Sunday.
Yeah, because when the park is packed, you want to stay on, so you want to run everybody.
Right.
But when it's a few people,
you want a salary cap.
Yeah, you want a salary cap.
You don't want a salary cap on Sunday.
No, not on Sunday.
Okay.
But when the park is kind of, empty, those a few guys and you running everybody, after a while, it gets boring. Yeah. So it's like, man, let's split these teams up, man. So to be even, so you can have some competition.
I'm talking Sunday in the square.
Oh, yeah, Sunday, man. We stay locked.
Sunday in the square, man. You sitting up there, man. First of all, you get up there 2 hours before everybody start playing.
Yeah.
So you could be like first, scout. Right? You and scout and be first.
Yeah.
Be that first 10 to shoot, right?
Yeah.
Is that how you understand? Like shoot free throws
first
and whoever
10.
First 10,
and whoever make it, whatever, they locked in.
It always comes down to the last two.
It's always the people that shooting forever. Then you be like, you know what? Just pick, because you got people that'll hold up the whole
then you
thing.
had the one dude. He ain't got no game because he show up in tube socks.
Oh man, headband.
Red, black, and green, red band, headband.
The wristbands on.
Out there looking like.
But you know what? He gonna pick the best team.
He gonna
be 4.5.
And he's that player that you don't want holding you, because even when you don't have the ball, he holding you. He up on you like, come on, man. I don't even have the ball. Why?
I like them type of players.
Man, I hate them type. Man, them type of cats that get you hurt on the court.
I bring back his shit. And I'm out.
Like, dude, I don't even have the ball. Why is you?
Hey man, he's trying to figure out.
He makes sure you don't get the ball.
Man, he's trying to, dude.
Like, man, cat at the free throw line. This dude still. Man, you don't know basketball, brother.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. All y'all out here, and just what we're talking about is Detroit wasn't going anywhere. The Tigers, so they traded Scobo, the best pitcher in baseball, to the Dodgers.
I mean, but the Brewers was trying to get him.
Yeah, everybody was trying to get him.
But but what I'm saying is that when you have a team, it's, to me, I look at baseball and the Dodgers like the LA Dodgers
Evil Empire
are like the Kings.
Dun,
and like everybody else is like peasants. Yeah, they just walk in.
They like the Yankees.
Oh, you little peasants, go on.
Hey man, that's one thing, you can still buy the best team. And then in baseball, then every now and then you get the Marlins, you get the Diamondbacks, but the team with the payrolls are usually gonna do pretty well.
And that's why it don't make sense to even be in the league if you don't have the payroll, because you're never gonna win.
So y'all think the Brewers ain't gonna go?
They gonna lose in the NLDS.
They can't beat the Dodgers.
Yeah,
I don't know who can beat the Dodgers.
Nobody beat the Dodgers. Can't beat the Dodgers.
Right.
Something gonna happen.
Well, now that's life.
Something gonna happen.
That's life. That's a great segue into the whole political scene.
Yeah.
There are things that are outside. I always try to get DJ to understand this. Yeah. There are things that are outside of the control of the candidate.
Yeah.
That you can run the perfect campaign, and then something happen. Right. And then or something else, you just lucky, because DJ was talking about it on Friday. He was saying, look, there's a little bit of luck that went into Barack Obama. A little bit of luck. Things lined up. Oh, yeah. Things lined up in such a way that had there been a strong economy when he ran in 2008, it would have been a different story. But the economy was teetering. People have a tendency to, the Republicans mess it up. The Democrats have to come and try to fix it up, so.
And I think people found favor in him, because of his mannerisms and his character. So when you see people like that,
it didn't start that way.
Well, no, I didn't say that it started that way.
Because a lot of people,
but after a while,
he was black enough.
Well, yeah, but after a while, you see him and he gains your trust. So it's like, okay, so you look at it and he's like, all right, he's well-mannered. And you look at his character.
Is that what Biden said about it? He's clean and articulate?
Yeah. See, but don't that go back to like slavery? To like how they...
Oh, I think,
he's a good...
Hey, y'all, the phone line's open. Y'all, let's have this conversation this morning, because that kind of gets us back to where we are here in Wisconsin. I was having a conversation yesterday with one of the deacons at the church, and I don't know why people would ask my political opinion. I mean, what do I know? And we were talking, and that number out there 2 weeks out, and now less than about a week out from the election, where you had 34% of people who were undecided on the Democratic side.
Yeah, that ain't good, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, it says a whole lot. Now, normally this would have been one of those referendums where people would have, I'm trying to think like 2018, where you just saw this massive turnout, for an off-year election. But right now, people are kind of, now, let me roll back here a little bit. This primary is to determine who will represent a particular party in the general election. That's a different thing than the general election. I know a lot of people think it's the same thing. It really isn't. You're just part of a nominating process. There's some states where it's done at convention. It's not done based on people being able to vote. So in Wisconsin right now, we're seeing democracy in action. Now, I'm sitting up here waiting to hear if Mandela gets back in the race.
Okay. Wait.
Let's see if he get back in the race, because somebody said, hey, now, and so let's talk a little bit about that. Did that break Friday? It must have broke after we got off the air.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That letter, I've seen a copy of it. I saw it, a few months ago. And so anybody, and look, I'm not in, somebody just hooked me up with, okay, hey, here's this letter. Even Jessica McBride, who I've only recently become aware of, who's this very conservative columnist and blogger and influencer, I guess, she was going like, really? And even the story in the paper with the young lady, look, and I know people. First of all, my understanding, no, he wasn't married. I don't think she was married. That's a consensual relationship between two adults. And for whatever reasons, people go in, and I know because the whole issue around Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky was that, okay, well, first of all, he was married. But then this whole idea that people in power can use their power then to take advantage of people. There's the other side of this real talk is that there are people who are attracted to power, right? Mm-hmm. And so then there's certain things that go along with that attraction to power. I mean, so in my mind, it was, where people go, there's nothing to see here. It says, it says something. But the fact that, as he said, his response was, hey, I had a lot of girlfriends. Well, hey, I ain't mad at you. Player. Player.
Ain't mad at all.
Maybe that would have came out when you read. You would have gone up in some people's eyes, in terms of how people view you.
Right.
But, and look, if the dude who's currently in the White House right now can do what he does and people still vote for him, it was, but I don't know if it was that as much as it was that would come out. That also could have been a distraction in terms of, because for the Dems, their ultimate goal is to beat Tom Tiffany. That's the ultimate goal for Democrats, right?
So he's the leading candidate for the Republicans?
Yeah, nobody's really running against him.
On the Republican side?
Yeah. So, I mean, he has some opposition, but it's not. I mean, he's the presumed nominee. So I think people know in the back of their minds. Now, this is Keith Parris. If I'm working on your campaign and I'm looking to say, there's some things, and I don't know if they can get it done. But if Francesca Hung is the eventual nominee, some cocaine.
Huh?
Some cocaine. As the eventual nominee.
Oh no!
I didn't go to the car. The eventual, because you doing this, I'm going. The eventual nominee. I gotta get through the show, man. I gotta get through the show. There's gonna have to be some imaging.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to change some imaging. Now people don't want to hear that. I know everybody, just be real. Yeah, okay, we be real. So hey, y'all, the phone line's open 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. Love to hear what you think. Is Monday. It's been a long time since I've been able to actually talk. We had so many guests last week.
Yeah.
So again, love to hear what you think. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Host Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice. The phone line's open, y'all. 414-444-5250. Hey, Clark, can you put the comments back up? Yeah. Somebody was okay. Here we go. Where we at? Click on chat here, Mr. Parris picture. Nothing beat the figure 4 leg lock.
Yeah, and that hurts for real.
We're banned in 36 states.
Oh, that figure 4.
How many friends you did that?
Doc, listen, we did that at school. So, like when you put it on people, though, you good because you get them and turn them around. But when they get you locked in with that finger 4, you talking about somebody screaming? That is some pain. Has any one of y'all ever been locked up? Listen, man. That finger 4, figure 4, whatever it is.
I don't even know. Wasn't that at one point that was Ric Flair's go-to?
Yep.
Oh, I know it was Nick Bockwinkel's go-to.
Yeah, you can break your leg.
Yeah.
Man.
There was a guy named Dr. X. Man, I love Dr. X. Dr. X. As a matter of fact, I went to the match where he was unmasked. He was a masked wrestler. But, man, when he put the figure 4 on, he could sell it. Man, he could sell it. He could sell it. Anyway, phone lines open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Again, Zebra, let me thank you all, those who came down to the 11th annual WNOV Resource Fair. We appreciate you. Let me thank the good folks there, the staff at the Clinton Rose Community Center for their hospitality. With all of that said, with all of that said, right out, do you know I got threatened?
You need security. Security. Wow.
These are older people, and they're threatening me. You know, we were given a cash giveaway every hour. I'm getting threats. Do it now. Do it now.
I can't wait.
Wait a minute, man. I gotta go. Like, then they get mad at me because the number didn't come up. Look, man, it's random.
Why they didn't pull my number?
Man, it was random.
Man, y'all cheating.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was just like, so, and it was fun. Now, the kids were great. Let me shout out Lil Rico and King. Oh, man, they were great.
Yeah, who was the other little kid that you said his name?
Ricky said he coming back.
Ricky coming back?
Ricky?
Yeah, that's what I was telling. Ricky said, I'll be back at 2.
Yeah. That's the one.
Because he was helping me with the drawing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, the kids were fun. The kids were like they were just.
Debo was on there like somebody granddaddy like, no, you already won. You
Debo,
get over there.
By the time we got to the last one, Debo had disappeared. It was just me.
I was rolling.
Just me up there.
He got fed up.
And and then I'm like, dude, and then I'm lightheaded from giving blood. You know, I'm a real trooper. I gave blood and I got out there and I worked. But man, I'm getting threatened, boy. Let me tell you, man, I was like, get me to the car.
Yeah, I love black people everywhere.
You got to, man. It just, and these are older people, man. No disrespect. You know.
So question to Debo and Clark.
Yes, sir. We get you to man. I know you go.
No, seriously.
Okay.
Did I earn my DJ plaque, man?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Debo said, no, hell no.
Yeah.
Debo said, no, hell no.
That was a folder I had already.
No, you didn't.
Negro, you just push buttons. That's all you did. You just push buttons. Oh man, people out there line dancing. And I was like, yeah, it was rocking. It was rocking, man. But yeah, let me shout out the good folks there. And I understand, and again, for not just the staff and the people, we realized we came in on a Friday. That's normally, a day for you guys. So to accommodate us, people yelling at me about food tickets. I don't know nothing about food tickets. Anybody know me, know that I normally don't eat at these events. So if it comes down to the food, I'm the last person you need to ask because I don't.
Yeah, shouts out to the vendors too.
All the vendors that were out, all the partner agencies that was out. Got a chance to have conversations with many of them, talking about the great services that they offer to the community. And again, let me thank Doug, Carolyn, all the folks who staffed Debo, Clark, W. Byron, the WNOV folks, the support staff who really put that together, because logistically it becomes a headache. Now, here's the benefit: even though it rained, we were indoors. So,
right.
that
right. Yeah, it was right.
Yeah, because one year we were at the King Center. We were outdoors, but we had good weather. It was, wow. So, Mr. Musical Director?
Yes, sir.
How was Saturday?
Man, the show was awesome, man. A lot of my brothers did a great job, man. And it was their first show in years. Also, it was their first show without Anthony.
Okay.
So it was... it was a tribute.
Is there such a thing as music muscle memory?
Yeah, oh yeah, because I can remember songs from the 90s.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you come back and you can kind of find yourself in the same.
Yeah, because like say for instance, like songs I haven't heard in years. If it pop up and you play it, it'll trigger something like, oh, I remember it, and boom, 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 boom. So that's just how I'm wired. So I can remember songs from.
Yeah, that's just like me. If I hear a song, I say, "Oh,
yeah,
I remember that song. My brothers and them used to play it all the time, but I can't remember the
I'm
artist."
talking about the performance part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you get up and you can.
Yeah.
I was at a homegoing for Sister Phyllis Coleman at Metropolitan, and so after people were kind of. Choir was still singing, and I kind of went up there and I started singing with them, and they were looking at me. I said, "Yeah, because I miss singing with you all. I mean, I
recall it.
We had harmony.
Yeah,
we did 3 parts.
Yeah,
And so when you get, I say this, and I appreciate you, and I know that some people give you a hard time. If Jermaine was a conductor of the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and music minister at Zion Hill Church, we wouldn't have a problem with Jermaine being the conductor of the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra.
That part. Yep. I see exactly where
you see where I'm going. But the fact that,
thank you.
Music, and I had this revelation. It wasn't a revelation, it's more of an affirmation of what it's always been a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
I said it last week. I do believe in celebration.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in celebration. I believe in the groove. I believe in the jammy jam.
Yeah.
I believe in strong worship.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
And so when we're able to come together as a community and celebrate corporately, that's the beauty of our culture.
That part, man.
And so when we sit up and go like, Kelly Price, I don't think she did any of her religious songs.
No. No, she did all of the.
But I wouldn't have had a problem if she did, because the it's music.
It's
man.
Music. Music hits every genre, whether it's jazz, R&B, classical, bluegrass, whatever. Music is like a filler. So you can, how can I explain this? Okay, prime example. Saturday, before David Hollister hit. Now, David Hollister is R&B, did the whole R&B set. But before he came on, the Lattimores did their gospel stuff from the Lamore album. So you had some people that was like, well, I remember them being Jersey Ave and singing Baby Baby and Why, Why, Why. So some of the people was looking like, okay, well, can you have gospel and R&B on the same stage? And yes, you can, because music is innocent.
And especially at a community event.
Right.
Now, I don't know if, I should be doing the thong song at church. But
are you at a church festival?
No, you can't do that when you're at a church
but
festival.
I'm saying at a community event, I think you tried to get a wide range of, it's all of that. Look, I'm sure, and I can't speak, I wish I would have had that interview with Kelly Price. I'm sure as we lay, and I ain't saying based on the experience she had, but then it could also be Amazing Grace. I mean, I think these things coexist.
Yeah.
And with adults, and that gets back to this whole thing with Mandela. Those are adult consensual relationships, man.
Right. Because
they like her version.
She was the one that had introduced it to the younger generation of the 90s, of the 90s and 2000s. So Shirley Varnard, she actually put it out for the earlier generation, but then when Kelly Price came, she was more popular to the young folks. So she was able to.
I thought that same thing too for a minute, but then you said it right. You said it right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the song, and I've always said this: it's the song, the performer. Look, Otis Redding did Respect. He wrote Respect. He recorded Respect.
Right.
But it wasn't as big as when Aretha Franklin did it.
Right.
Is that the same Respect?
It's the same song. She did her whole thing on it. That last part of it. She answered. She changed the speed. I mean, there was things, but it was still. To me, it's always the song.
Always the song.
It's always the song. I mean, you got great artists out there. It's like my grandmother. My grandmother could take a piece of leather, and by the time she got finished with it, it's melting in your mouth. And some people can just take things and make it work.
Yeah.
But because I was, even when Byron Strickland was on from the symphony, he was looking at me like, I'm going like, oh, Allie Willis wrote that song. He's going, who's? I'm just not looking at it because I'm going like, okay, great example. My opening song, there's at least 22 versions of that song. At least.
I see it.
And why? it's a good piece
It's a
of
good
music,
song, yeah.
and people want a piece of it.
Yeah. So is that song open domain?
No,
Like,
not
is
yet.
it
I don't think so. Nope.
to have so many versions of it though?
Well, they're paying.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
okay.
That the everything, the Donny Hathaway estate,
Okay.
whoever owns the rights to that song is getting paid every time they record it and every time it's played.
Yeah.
So, you know, you go, and people like Whitney Houston wasn't a songwriter.
Right.
You know, so Whitney Houston did other people's songs. You
Right.
know, someone like Aretha Franklin, she was a songwriter.
Right.
You know, and so I just think that I just love the celebration, man. I mean, you know, when I've had a chance to see them live twice, Parliament Funkadelic. That's 2.5 hours of just nonstop groove.
Wow.
You know,
And then switch up so much.
yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, but then at the same time, and I've never seen them live, and I wish I would have known about the pop-up, I would have went out to see him. Like Ricky Dillon, New G.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, there's certain people out there who, you know, they just Fred Hammond, you know, like they got it. And I know people may or may not, because you're so deep in your religion that you might not want to hear this applied to gospel music. Like there's a groove. Hey man, Kurt Franklin figured it out.
All of it, man. Music is innocent, man. You can take any beat and just have the music, right?
Is what you
put to it.
Yeah.
Because the music by itself is
Well, what should
instrumental.
music do? Should music bring joy?
Yeah.
Supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's why too.
or expression of emotion, because as we lay is more a song about lamenting. Reasons is a song about, wow, I went into this relationship, and Phil Bailey tells the story. He thought that it was something really meaningful when he had relations with the woman, and she's just getting with him because he was Phil Bailey with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
So then it was like, oh, now the fact that you set up and met her, I don't know if you set up and thought that was going to be love forever. You know, come on, man. You know what you know, that is what that is.
Sometimes people think that.
Yeah, but it's a moment. Got a comment? All right, caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Keith. Good morning. How you doing?
Good. What's happening?
Ain't nothing happening. Look here, about the blood donation down there. Do you have to have an appointment or something, or all that to have get your blood drawn?
Yeah, you were supposed to have appointments.
Yeah.
You weren't the brother that came in without the appointment when I was there, were you?
No, yeah, I come there at first. I was on my bicycle, you know.
Right, that's you.
And I was riding my 18-wheeler down there. So I come there on my 18-wheeler.
I gave enough for both of us, bro.
So I said to myself, what are you using to try and go down there and donate my blood if they don't want it?
No, they were trying, because there were some people at appointments, though. By the end, they had appointment slots available. They could go in, people could go in afterwards, because we made an announcement. It must have been about 1:30 that people go in if they still wanted to give blood who didn't have an appointment. But I appreciate you coming out, being willing to do it. But at that first group, there were people there with actual appointments, because I know I have one.
But see, I was the first one, and they told me right away, you can't donate no blood right now. I said, well, hey, man, this is free blood I'm trying to give y'all.
Yeah, did you see me up in there? There was some other people up in there too, bro.
Well, nobody up in there. Well, I'm looking at
No, you pulled up what I pulled up.
When I went up in there to donate the blood, over there to the blood thing,
Right.
the girl was up there told me that.
Right.
So I said, I come back through there and told Debo, I said, get on up out of here now. They don't want to take my blood.
Well, you can always go down to Thrive on King. They'll take you in without an appointment down on King Drive in Garfield.
Yeah. But see, I just wanted to do that while I was down there.
No, but I appreciate that. I know they appreciated your willingness.
Well, I'm going to ask you another question. One more thing, I'm going to get off. If they hear anything about Ken, my friend Ken, that used to come down there all the time, I hear that he passed away, and I want to know for sure that he really passed away. Ken, he used to come down to the center all the time. He was on the show out there one time.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't know what's happening down there at the King Center, and I don't even know if they want me ever to come back, because The threats
Oh yeah,
I
you
was
coming
getting.
back? You coming back? All right.
Yeah, the threats I was
we're gonna
getting
have you back
down
down there again.
Yeah, and I'm such a nice guy.
Yeah, I know that. That's why we're gonna have you back down there again.
Yeah, I do remember him because he pulled up on that bike when I was walking in.
Yeah, I was on my 18-wheeler.
Yes, sir. Your 18-wheeler.
All right, I'll let you later.
All right,
Y'all
man.
take care.
Yep, peace. Yeah, that you get blood, Clark? What? Why not, bro?
I don't know. I'm scared of needles. Yeah, I'm a big baby.
You know what she did, right?
What?
She just covered up when she put the needle in.
So you don't see it. Once you see it, then it triggers something more.
Yeah. Blood pressure was already high.
Well, I mean, for me, I just watch y'all, man. And hey, man, I'm off to the side. Like, great job, Keith, for giving blood because people need it, man. Great job. Because if it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have what they got. So, congratulations.
I was watching this this piece on the mob, and man, it actually was better than I thought it was going to be. And I think it was when John Gotti had killed Castellano, Big Paulie. And I don't know anybody watching the Westies. That is serious.
Oh.
The Westies. Oh man, that is such a good series. Talking about there was a gang. They call it Hell's Kitchen. It's Midtown New York, the West Side, and these Irish gangs or this Irish gang. It is really good, man. I mean, it is things. It was like, but it's good. But anyway, the guy, he was the FBI agent who was on scene when they took I think Paul Castellano, who got killed outside the steakhouse, to the hospital. No. It was Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo. He was the guy who did this whole Italian American, like the NAACP for Italians. He ended up getting killed at a rally, shot. He's bleeding. He didn't die right away. He's at the hospital. One of the cops who was doing surveillance with him they said the doctor came out and said, we need blood. And I guess this guy has that universal blood that anybody could get. And so he's sitting up there knowing this. He said, I was torn. And I don't know if he ever decided that he gave blood, but here I am giving blood to a criminal, right? That was kind of crazy. That was kind of crazy. So anyway, you're listening to, we got break?
Yep.
You're listening to Community Voice. Phone lines open, y'all, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
With your host, Keith Parris.
All right, well, yeah.
What?
Yeah, my little Pootie Tang moment.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. We said, look away if you have to. Been there, done that. There's people really have a needle phobia. That's real.
No, seriously, because when I got the shots in my knees, the first thing he told me, he said, don't look, because if you look, it's gonna send that signal from your brain to your body. And sure enough, like the first one, I didn't feel because I was looking away and I didn't know when it happened. But the second one, I just so happened to turn and look, and as soon as I saw it, I felt the pain. And I'm like, this is crazy because I just got it in my left knee.
Man, I could tell you I always learn, this is the second time I've had to go through physical therapy. And the physical therapists are so good telling you about your body and how your body works, right? And and so there were things in there. One of the things that had caused the fall was my brain remembered when I stepped and had slipped before.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to adjust, but I don't have the balance to do it.
Yeah.
Bam. Because you walk in to avoid pain.
Right.
You know, like I didn't realize that my pelvis was out of place until I went to the chiropractor. And but then talking about, I was in worse pain because now I'm using muscles way I have not used it before. I think about when at the beginning, when we would have like tryouts at the beginning, training camp for basketball, one of the common ailments people got were shin splints. right?
yeah,
those
yeah.
ligaments that run along your bone there, but you haven't been using them that way. And so that's where you get them from, like, oh man, I'm using these muscles. So you got the muscles, you got tendons, you got all those things going on. And we were talking, I don't know if we were talking about it last week, but how it used to be ACL was a career ender, like, and Achilles. But now, based on medical science and the advancement in science, they're able to rebuild where people are actually stronger than they were before. And so, because we talked about, I think the name that came up was Gale Sayers, and how he had just 2 career-ending knee surgeries. But my guy, Paul George.
Oh, Paul George.
Remember when he had that leg at the Olympic
he almost
festival?
died, didn't he?
Yeah, he was in bad shape. The fact that he's even able to come back and play.
The guy that played for Boston, a white guy, there was a shooter. What was his name? He came from Charlotte. He was a shooter. And he got all of that money. And he ended up.
Yeah. He came from Utah.
Yeah.
And he got hurt against the Bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you could do some. Like I said, when I had fallen away, my leg had twisted. I thought, oh man, that's a ligament. At least, not hopefully, it's, if it's cartilage or ligament. But I guess because it was not a violent fall.
Yeah.
I was able to kind of brace myself, but I was looking like a pretzel, man. I was twisted. And then fella hurt the other knee. It was like, but it's pain. So now, not only am I dealing with pain in my back, I'm dealing with pain in my knees. So walking is like, how do I avoid the pain in my knees? How do I avoid the pain in my back?
So I got a question for you. Is it that is pain in your body, or is it that your brain is telling your body to feel something?
No, it's pain. It's the nerve endings. That's why when the guy was telling me how you apply ice and heat, like what it does is it brings down the swelling, because a lot of times it's just swelling, right?
No, I get it. Well, the only reason why I asked that is because when I just said about the needle,
right?
Looked away, I didn't feel anything. He said, "Well, that boy good. That boy deep."
No, he's just thinking about it.
Needle. No, but when I looked away, I didn't feel it. But as soon as I saw it, my brain told my body
knew it was gonna hurt.
But my thing is, from the first injection, I didn't feel it because I didn't see it.
Right.
So was it that the pain was still there and my brain didn't register it, or
did he give you
for
a
me
local?
seeing it? Huh?
Did he give you a local?
No. He just rubbed some type of.
That's a local.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of numb it.
Yeah. Numbed it, but he did it on the other knee too.
Yeah, but you can still, like when I got the 2 shots, for a moment, I felt that needle. It felt like, and some pain, because I did an audible, it was like, oh man, and it was because the needle's in there. Yeah. And even though they had given me something to sedate me,
I'm gonna make y'all cringe some more.
Okay.
Take you back to the 60s and 50s when you had to go to the dentist. And when they used to give you that shot in your, what they want to put?
Your gum?
Yes.
Oh, when it wore off?
I was not seeing that needle, man. I passed out.
No, Doc, listen. I got a wisdom tooth.
I passed. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And they, socked up. Nova
that's what I was talking about.
But this particular wisdom tooth, instead of coming up like this, it was coming like this.
Impacted.
Yeah. So they had to cut around the gum and go in deep.
Yep.
So what he did was he numbed it, and he was like, well, you're not going to feel the pain. You're going to feel the pressure. So you can feel the whole thing. Trying to get it out of that.
Oh, then when he saw it, the smoke coming out your mouth.
Oh, my God. But I actually felt like when he got the tooth halfway up, and then they cut it, so they can.
Because it's on the nerve.
It's on the nerve.
Yeah.
But Doc, when I tell you, he was in there, trying to get it loose for so long, the Novocaine wore off.
Yep.
So my mouth, they was pulling my mouth like this, and I had grabbed the doctor's hand like this. And he said, if you grab me, I'm going to stop pulling in this tooth. I said, this is exactly what I said. If you stop pulling this tooth, I ain't gonna say what I said. But I told him I was gonna whoop a fit on him. Better, he got it done though.
Thank you, Black Jesus.
Hey, listen, he got it. Hey man, if you leave me in this pain, you gonna, man, I'm gonna tear this off.
Oh, let's hear what happened. Dude went in, he removed the tube. He had the number a couple times because sometimes they might have to go. So he said you can eat, you know, and I hate when they numb that because it feels like if you itch it, you don't feel it.
You don't feel it at all.
Yeah, it's all numb. He said, so you can eat. So man, I go to my little go-to meal. This happened, man, almost 30 years ago. I had a lung abscess that burst.
Oh.
So I had all this infection in my body, right?
Oh wow.
And so Rhonda was going, we'd only been married about April, September, about 5 months. Rhonda had to go to Boston. And so two of her co-workers to come and take a look at Keith. So and I couldn't half eat, man, because I coughed. It was awful. I lost like 20-some pounds. And so they brought me, when I was feeling better, they brought me a club from Cousins.
Oh, wow.
It was good. I mean, it was so good. So when I went in after this whole dentist thing, what's my go-to after I had that some kind of medical thing, right? So I'll go to Cousins, give me. So man, I got club. Club was good. I could only chew on one side of the mouth.
Right.
And they said, now you're going to take an antibiotic and you're going to take a pain pill.
Yeah.
But the antibiotic and pain pills look just alike. So I took 2 antibiotics. Man, that anesthesia wore off. It felt like somebody was driving a spike. Like, man. Rhonda's running, you know, where the health clinic is out on Fond du Lac and right across the street from Greater Newburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Milwaukee Health.
Yeah,
well, that used to be Family Health Care.
Yeah, healthcare, yeah.
And Rhonda was the clinic manager there.
Oh.
So I call her. I said, I'm in pain. What should I do? Can you talk to one of the doctors to see? I think I took 2. Can I? She said, okay. 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Your mouth throbbing.
30 minutes. I ain't heard nothing. So now I'm calling back. Like, I'm in pain here. Oh.
I forgot.
She said he'd be all right.
Man, listen.
I don't think she knew.
Yeah, that man.
Your
mouth is hurting.
Man, pain is but you know, pain is also a teacher.
Yes.
Pain is also you learn a whole lot from your pain. And you know, and your brain is trying to say, here's how you avoid the pain.
Right.
You know, swelling will kind of immobilize you. That means you shouldn't walk on it.
Right.
If you notice dogs, when they got a hurt leg, they ain't trying to walk on the leg. Human beings get out there trying to walk on the leg.
Well, that's the only way, man, that it would heal is if you don't walk on it. And
you
give
the
it time
inactivity.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets us back to when you see people like these pro athletes and what they're able to do, they have the best physical training. Now, look, the PTs that I went to, these folks they're off the chain.
Amazing.
But when you look at, and it's almost like an animal, and because human beings are animals, where you look at all the things they can do. They can do infrared, they can do massage therapy, they use acupuncture, you know, like dry needlings, all these things to get these athletes back in shape. I was looking at Ephesians Collier yesterday. That girl can play. Oh my God, that woman is so good. Oh man. And she was talking about, because she had ankle surgery on both ankles. And she was saying how it's one thing when you're running and doing your whole conditioning. It's another thing when you're in the game, because, you know, when you're doing conditioning, it's like, let's say you're running sprints, boom, 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 run back, boom, 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 boom. Basketball is start, stop, you know, like you run in one direction. I used to do a drill. I was bringing back a memory where the guys would be running sprints. You blow the whistle, you got to turn and run the other way, right? Because it's getting you used to during the game. You know, that's how the game works. Like you got to turn over, you got to turn to get back. And all you ever heard me say is get back.
Right.
Get back. You need to get back on defense, right? But doing those drills, so all that. So when you're actually in the game, it's different. And you also got, you know, the anxiety of now trying to get out here and perform. I was playing a game one time, and it was a big game for these kids. And I had to call the timeout like a minute and a half into the game because the kids were hyperventilating. They were just that hyped up,
Wow.
you know, to play. But understanding how our body works, I think the example I gave somebody was when you get a new car, oh, man, you don't have to do a lot of maintenance on it.
At all.
But as that car gets older, you know, there's things that you have to do. And that's the same thing with our bodies, that how we maintain our bodies. The way I ate at 20, I can't eat at this age. You know, I mean, it was because at 21, I'm burning every calorie. And it probably wasn't real healthy then. Because you look at athletes now, the one thing they will tell you is two things. You got the exercise piece of it, but there's two other things, diet and rest. You know, for your body just to be able to recover. So it's when you look at the body and how we maintain the body. I was talking to Mandela, and you know, he's a runner, but he said the same thing. He said your core got to be strong. That's that area, your abdominal and all of that. So a lot of the PT exercises I do now has everything to do with building up my core, providing good support for my back,
Right.
Learning how to walk right. You know, like I said, man, that's what I said to the PT. I said, you know, if I could just get my Denzel Washington walk back, I'm good. But no, she said, no, you want to do Barack Obama. I want to do Barack Obama coming down the stairs. Nobody comes down the stairs like Barack Obama, other than my former roommate at Mount St. Mary's, Mr. Eric D. McNair. Eric always came down the stairs sideways. He just had this coolest way of coming downstairs. Come downstairs. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Parris.
How are you?
Thank you for taking my call.
Turn your radio down.
Yes, sir, brother. Assalamu alaikum to you all. And I apologize. It's like I'm not on my square, right? With regard to the audio. So
in regards to
the speaker, you know, like interference.
Oh, you're not on the speaker, are you?
No, sir.
Okay.
You can hear me.
Yep.
Yes, I've been listening for a minute, and I didn't know that you had a situation that took place. So, you know, I hope you are okay.
Oh, man, a lot better.
Yes, sir, Mr. Parris. So,
as a matter of fact, right, I'm going to take my walker out to New Birth.
Walker? You on a walker, Mr.
Man,
Parris?
I was on a walker, yeah. I'm going to take the walker out to New Birth.
What? Wow.
Yeah, no, you know why I was on the walker, though? Because originally I was doing a cane. I did the walker so I would walk properly, you know, like I'm balanced in my walking. That's what the walker does. It provides that support. Where the cane, I could go either way. So I was walking wrong. So I'm still putting pressure on the area that's injured. So with the walker, it just kept me upright.
So you on a cane now?
No.
You still on the walker?
No walker, no cane.
Oh, right. Okay, you are in full possession of your faculties.
My balance is back. Yeah, yes, yeah, and I'm getting stronger. So when I saw the orthopedic, he asked me how I was. I said about 85%. I'm never going to be totally pain free.
Don't let them get you on drugs.
No, I
medicine
hope,
is poison.
Hopefully, the only drug I have to take is that steroid shot that I took.
And turmeric. Homeopathic things.
Yeah, that
because
too.
Because of inflammation.
Yep.
Of the nerves.
Oh man, I'm on Tylenol. You know, every morning I'm up taking Tylenol, and I have not had to take a lot of pain pills because I don't like taking pain pills.
Don't do it.
Right. You know, but and then if it gets real bad, I'll take some Aleve. But it really hasn't. You know, I'm just building up strength. I'm walking more. So you know,
you try ginger tea with turmeric, black pepper, honey, black and green tea.
Okay.
And this is what I wanted to say to you all. You were talking about training. When I ran track 100,000 years ago, we trained with the basketball players, and the reason for that is because at a moment's notice, the basketball players have to pivot. So they have strong ankles. And, you know, they always just say they're going to break your ankles. But the people who ran track, like especially the sprinters trained with the basketball players to teach strength for endurance in the curves. If you ran like the 4x1 or 4 or the 200 or any of the relays, your ankles have to be strong because usually the first person in the curves is the one that's going to be the winner. And usually the fastest people are in the first 4 lanes when it comes to sprinting. So all in all, I hope you, may Allah keep you strong, get you stronger. Look for homeopathic things. I worked and produced pharmaceuticals, and some people are probably going to get upset about what I'm about to say. But being exposed, the way that some pharmaceuticals are produced, like radio pharma in particular, it's a dangerous process, and the product that is produced is it has been radiated. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So when it comes to synthesis and making things, see, synthesis and sin, look at that. Synthetic materials are not good for organic material. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Synthetic things will arrest the situation, and it could cause the manifestation of something which could lead to something that's detrimental to organic material.
Okay. Have you ever had
carbon based?
Had a steroid shot or?
No, sir. Okay. I follow the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as best as I can. I'm gonna say this because my brother called me the prodigal son. So I hope that don't mean I'm evil or anything like that. But because I'm not, Allah didn't call me to produce and manifest or contribute to the continuation of evil things. I understand why.
And the reason why I'm asking you that,
yes,
Christopher, is I think that there has to be a balance.
Well,
there's sometimes where, I don't want to use the word radical. You might have to do something that's outside of your norm.
Yes,
and so I think there has to be. I don't like taking prescription drugs, even though I am on blood pressure medication and I'm on a statin, for cholesterol. But
have you spoken to the pharmacologist, the pharmacy person? He knows more about the chemical composition of anything that a doctor would prescribe for you. So the pharmacist is the best person when it comes to the molecular construction of any synthesized material. When it comes to medicine, that's the best person to speak with outside of the doctor, because the doctor is going to look at your symptoms and they'll understand it from that perspective. But the scientific understanding of what the synthesized material that you might be prescribed, the best understander of that is the pharmacist, because he has the broadest knowledge about how he will interact with organic matter.
Chemotherapy or radiation therapy, where, you have something that could be, that is destructive to organisms, particularly human beings. But at the same time, done correctly, it becomes a benefit. And that's always been the thing with science and medical science, is how do you balance the medical good? Because there is no anything that people take where there's not going to be some type of what do you call that? The negative. God, I'm stuck for words this morning.
It's okay. I understand what you're saying.
No. What is it when you have a reaction to it? Side effects. There you go.
Side
Adverse
effects.
effects. Side. I mean, because what the body
Adverse
is doing,
reaction.
right? But then it could be temporary, and then in the long run, then it's able to go in and stabilize whatever it is or arrest whatever it is that you're dealing
That's
with.
called shock therapy. When it comes to chemicals and chemotherapy and radiation, and one is heavier than the other. Radiation is
Radiation
stronger,
is radical. If you have radiation,
stronger.
it's
than
really
chemical
you're in
therapy.
a real acute state by that time.
Yeah, and but it will both of those things are ultimately both of those approaches are detrimental to organic matter, and you can do this yourself with bleach and pour it on a leaf.
Oh yeah. And it impacts other parts. It can impact your organs. You know, the question people ask is the side effects, does the benefit
does the means justify the end?
No, does the benefit outweigh some of the negative,
the detriment,
right, reaction or responses that you have? And I think we balance that, every day. Like I could take a certain drug and it's going to cause me, it's a diuretic, right? So I'm constantly urinating. Well, that opens up the door for dehydration, right?
Yes, sir.
So then I have to make sure that I'm fully hydrated. So it's always a balance, and I agree with you. Is natural is better, right?
Naturally, everything. Can I say this, and then I will go. Most of the things when it comes to, and I know they get mad, but I got to tell the truth because I know this. When it comes to the pharmaceutical sciences, and that's why I'm speaking higher with regard to the pharmacists, because they understand the chemistry that is involved more so than the doctor.
Right.
And when you've been involved in the production of these things and you've been actually exposed, when it comes to radiated things, the length of it has to do with dosage and exposure. When it comes to medicine that has been produced, whether it has been produced, when it all comes to it has been synthesized. The thing of it all is that because pharmacology is so awesome, or pharmaceuticals, I should say, not pharmacology. Pharmaceuticals, the pharmaceutical industry is so awesome and powerful. The good things that are natural, which will actually help you a lot better than something that has been synthesized, that's not promoted as much as it was in the past as it is now. It's easier for you to go pop a pill than it is for you to make tea, in a way.
Wasn't it Chris Rock who said that the money is not in the cure, the money is in the treatment?
In the treatment, right. So they're not trying to cure you. They're arresting your symptoms for a moment, but yet you're being strung along and you actually are being addicted to something. And when it comes to that blood pressure pill, you should definitely use a lot of turmeric. You can use turmeric as much as you want, and as if it's red pepper or black pepper. And try that, because that has to do with your nerves and they're inflamed, and that's why you feel in pain. Ginger tea and things like that. Look for natural ways to keep your body on the inside strong. That's physiology, biochemistry. I study clinical laboratory sciences with an emphasis on biomedical sciences, and at UW Milwaukee. And I study chemistry at Milwaukee Area Technical College. So anyway, I'm not trying to brag or boast, but when it comes to organic matter, which is carbon-based, which we are. That's why everything turns black when it dies. Turn back to carbon. But carbon is what diamonds are the basis of, with pressure. Be careful of things that people who have the ability to prescribe you, as opposed to someone who knows the actual effect of it on an organic-based material being. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, appreciate you.
Yes,
You're listening to Community Voice. Phone lines open 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. You need a medical diagnosis, the phone line's open. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Host Keith Parris. Parris.
All right, welcome back. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. And let me, and I didn't realize that this happened this weekend, but let me shout out the Milwaukee Community Journal. They celebrated 50 years, and Black press is alive and well in the city of Milwaukee. And so shout out to them. I remember when they started. And so we need to do that. We need the Black press. Black press is so important because it gives a perspective that legacy media doesn't always do. So we appreciate you and the work, Ms. Patillo. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Again, y'all, the phone line's open. 414-444-5250. Also, let me, and I don't know if he's listening, but let me thank Pastor Marcus Allen. I think his insight in terms of the Corey Ruiz case in Madison was right, it's on point. Gave us a different understanding of why that particular shooting in terms of community reaction might look a little bit differently than it did in other communities. And so, and I know he does a good work there at the Mount Zion Church there in Madison, but that was just good. I mean, it wasn't hyperbole. I mean, it was to the point, stuck with the facts. Hey, here's the situation. Here's how it's going to resolve itself. And, right when we think or want to believe or hope that things have changed, we realize that the more things change, the more they stay the same. So we know, just like when we've had our incidents here, how we support. So really, as much as we can, let's support the community of Madison, see if they can do the right thing, and that justice will be done. It's unfortunate. And when people are running around here, especially Negroes who are critical of the critical race theory, this is another example of how, and the justice system is not just when people get in the court system, it's their interaction with law enforcement and how there's implicit bias there. And people don't always recognize nor appreciate nor respect our humanity. And that's why you can have a situation where there is a person who's not Black pose more of a threat and they were able to walk away, as opposed to Black folks who didn't pose that great of a threat or no threat at all, and they lost their lives. That is still part of America's DNA. And we have to continue to work towards justice when it comes to that. You want to hear that America should be colorblind. I think that genie's out the bottle. I don't think we're ever going to be colorblind. America should be fair. America should be equitable. America should be just. And then we need to take in consideration that there are physical differences that people have. We might have physical differences in terms of appearance, but the humanity is still the same. We have shared humanity. And I think that that's one of the residual effects of enslavement, that Black people were never considered fully human. And I think that is after 400 years in this country, here in North America, 400 years in North America, 250 years of this country, that is just hard, difficult for people. First of all, people even realize that there's a problem, because there are a lot of European Americans who don't believe that there's a problem, because again, their perch of privilege, and then what segregation does is you don't get a chance to then experience what another human being who looks different than you might be experiencing, because you're so segregated. And then people then are going to be able to fall on stereotypes and myths and all these other things. And then let me say this to descendants of enslaved Africans and descendants of Africans who are here in North America. we need to appreciate our humanity. I don't know if we always do a good job of even appreciating our humanity, because I don't know how you can appreciate someone else's humanity if you don't appreciate yours. And so all those things where we have to reject internalized racism, we have to reject the personification of white supremacy, where the reaction is a certain level of, I use the term black inferiority. A lot of it's in our mind. Well, racism is real. That ain't in our minds. What I'm saying is how we react and respond to it is how we view ourselves. So I try to catch people when they call in and they just, tearing black folks down. And I'm going like, dude, first of all, that ain't a benefit. And, people get on me, man. I'll talk to DJ in our production meeting on Thursday. We have to do Hater Nation, because the haters, man, which I am one, the haters out there, man, where you just, I was watching something, just looking at something on Facebook, and the first thing that came out this person's mouth was how much the person was making. Man, that is the most basic level of hate, that you get mad because somebody's making money you don't think they should deserve. Of course, if you're in that position, you're gonna take whatever they give you, right? I mean, it's things like that that kind of trips me out, in terms of how we sit there, jealousy and envy, all of these things, and a lot of us will walk around and we will tout our biblical scholarship. It's not so much if you know scripture, it's if you live scripture. Again, it's not your knowledge of scripture, it's how you live scripture. And that's the disconnect. That's the disconnect. Because, if you're a follower of Jesus, and I'm going to go in, and this is being anecdotal, where, I hear more and more, we talking about eternal life and we're talking about salvation and we go on and on and on. But any studying of Jesus, you will find that the thing that Jesus focused on is how human beings should comport themselves with other human beings. They have compassion, right? To feed people who are hungry, to clothe those who are naked. That's human interaction. And I remember growing up hearing this, and people used to say, your good deeds won't get you in. That doesn't make logical sense. Your good deeds won't get you in. Why not? When Jesus taught us to do good deeds. Why? If we're following Jesus and following what Jesus taught us and instructed us to do, then why then wouldn't it get us in?
Well, that's really a good question, because you really don't know unless you go ask somebody that's on the other side.
Okay.
Now
we gotta do that.
But I just think that if you live how Jesus lived, then you should be all right. And when I say that, I mean, like, as far as how he treated people and the compassion he had for people. So when he saw a need, he met the need. So I think if you can live your life under that umbrella,
I understand, and that's insightful, because a lot of growing up is unlearning some of the things that we've learned when we were young.
right?
And it might have made sense then, or maybe it didn't make sense. It's just what people taught. But when I don't know, if the motivation, and maybe this is unfair, but if the motivation is that I do good so I can get to heaven. Okay, that's good. But then Paul talks about how people, was it Paul or James who talked about people being lovers of good?
Oh yeah.
In other words,
Yeah.
that if you love doing good,
Right, you're gonna do good.
you're gonna do good.
Right.
You know, and what's more important, where you know we're talking about, and look, for Black folks, this was part of our theology. Was we had to do deferred gratification. And what do I mean by that? We basically had to die in order to get our reward. And I think it's permeated some of our theology in terms of how we look at things. But there was a piece there where the slave master, who was also a practicing Christian, was able to reap reward and be fully human here. Then what about the enslaved African? Why couldn't he or she? And that's, so I think it's always about humanity is created. Religion is created for humanity. But I think it's how we deal with each other. I think that becomes that. I mean, you know, we can, and I don't know if people think because you do that little incantation that yes, I believe I'm a sinner. Yes, I believe Jesus died for my sins, you know, and you go on. Okay. The acknowledgement of that, and that is more symbolic than anything. Ain't no power in it, by the way. The question is, if I'm a follower, if I'm a disciple, that means that then I'm a practitioner of what I've been taught as a disciple. If you're taking Taekwondo, is that like you're learning that, but then you apply those life principles to your life. And I don't know if it's that. I think it's a whole lot of and again, I think it's well-meaning. I don't think it's malicious. I wasn't when I say that as you get older, there should be questions. Some things are not apparent or immediately apparent, so there should be questions. We talked about doubt, skepticism. There should be a level of skepticism. I don't know if, and then how much of even what I believe can be buttressed by facts. Now that's the other thing about religion. Religion is not based on facts. Religion is based on belief. How do I have a balance between what I know and what I believe? You know, I mean, that I can believe something, but that don't make just because I believe it, that's true. And, you know, I have people, because people will argue with me. I'll say 1 + 1 is 2. But here comes a Negro. Not necessarily.
Well,
See?
no. I was gonna say if there's proof of it, you know, that 1 + 1 is 2, there's really no pushback.
Oh yeah, there's still pushback.
Really?
Yeah, it was something that DJ said, DJ Hines.
Oh, okay.
Where, you know, he was saying, in effect, do we give people permission to question? They don't need your permission.
Right.
They're already questioning it. I mean, when you get up, I mean, that's what human beings, as adults say no before they say yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? We say no before we say yes. So yeah, they're out there, and then here's the other piece of it. Now, just for me being the free thinker that I am, and I really believe in free thinking, is that you should be questioning when somebody gets up before you. And you might want to ask a question. Now, there's a difference in asking a question and dismissing it, you know, just dismissing it. I ain't gonna even think about it. I believe what I believe. I believe what I believe. And notice I'm not using saying I know what I know. I believe what I believe. The problem with belief is that belief is fluid. Sometimes belief is based in fact. Sometimes belief is just based in belief. And I have people arguing with me about facts. Yes, we can have a better understanding of facts. But the last time I checked, if I run into that glass, is going to do some physical damage. Okay? There, maybe in your mind there's an exception, like you was talking about if I think about a thing.
Yeah.
But I think that we have put so much on belief. But then, and here's the contradiction of living. We also put an enormous amount of premium on materialism, right? If you look at in the Old Testament, for you Christians, us Christians, in the Old Testament, a blessing was materially what you had. Yeah. So if you were materially well off, you were blessed, you were righteous, and that's how we gauged it. Look at things differently now to understand that I could be the most materially blessed person in the world with poor health.
Yeah.
How many of us, if I'm looking at the possibility of death and having wealth, what becomes more important to me? Be poor and alive, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that sometimes, you know, it's okay, not that you need my permission, it's okay to think. It's okay to question. But look for the answer. Yeah. That's the second part of that. A lot of times, you know, when I tell people to look it up, they're not going to look it up because they don't want to stop believing what they already believe.
Yeah.
And the facts are going to push up against what I believe. That's hard. There's some things that I really believed. And then only upon further review. What flag is that? The red flag? Yeah. Oh. That was wrong. Okay, that was wrong. And so, yeah, I think that that's the thing I like about good dialogue when we have, someone just asked the question, are visions real?
I think sometimes.
Be more specific.
Zebra.
When you say visions, you know, I still believe. No, I believe. Take that word out. There are still prophets today. There's still prophets. There's always been prophets.
Yeah.
And because what prophets, certainly if you look at the Old Testament and prophets, they spoke to justice and against injustice. That was their primary role. And then you have, here are your options. If you do this, you can avoid this. Malcolm X was a prophet. Martin Luther King was a prophet. I believe Jeremiah Wright is a prophet. You know, there are people out there who have insight and they're calling society to justice and righteousness. I was listening to someone, and it's funny how what we equate as sin. And they were going on about smoking, drinking, doing drugs, you know, the big three. Oh, did I say sex? Big folk. You know, sin. That. Now, this is Keith. Upon further review, a lot of it's just some real bad physical habits that's going to have impact on you materially. Okay. So sometimes it's how you use what you use. And then the other thing is, again, I think some of the greatest sin is how human beings deal with each other. And it seems to me that I need to be better at how I treat Clark and how I treat Jermaine, right? I think that that's going to be my ultimate judgment. We'll say, caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Okay, I have a question I want to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Do you think there's a connection between your maturity and your temper?
You say that again?
Do you think there's a connection between your maturity and your temper?
Yes.
Okay. How?
As I become more mature, I should have a better handle on how I control my temper.
Okay, that's a good answer because I go on the thing, your emotion. The strongest emotion that you have is anger and love. But love is a little more temperate than your anger.
But there's another one out there too, fear.
Fear, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but fear is for survival. You know what I mean? I mean, fight or flight is for our survival. Fear is for our survival. We talk about what we call love, but a lot of times what we call love, certainly, between two human beings, I mean, is romantic love. Well, that's also physical desire. That physical desire is there for us to procreate. That's the biological reason for it, right? But yeah, fear, our anger, our ability, how do we handle tough situations? But as I mature, one, I should be mindful of that behavior, and two, whatever I can then do to modify the behavior. Some people with quick tempers, maybe their maturity is they don't get as angry as quickly. But I think it's a process, especially if that's been your modus operandi for many years. Like you've been able to go in to some people, man. What is it? James tells us to Lord help bridle my tongue. Because we can get to talking crazy. Yeah, I was listening to some brothers talking about playing cards, and I'm surprised there are not more homicides around spade games. You be hearing some folks going like, I be wanting to go for my gat. Like, what?
Yeah, it does bring out the negative side playing the card games, but there's a reference behind the word fear to me. You know what it means to me?
What's that?
False evidence appearing real.
Oh man, that's good. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a guy say that fear is a sin. I'm not going to go that far. He said because the opposite of fear is faith, right? So, but I will say that fear has a biological reason there. That fear helps us. We were talking earlier about the brain, right? And how the brain will have a memory about you have been a painful episode, and then the brain is telling you need to avoid that because that caused pain, right? Mm-hmm. All right, man, I got to wrap it up. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Let me thank all the callers, all two of you. What?
Hey,
Clark Kent, thank you.
Who you with?
Jermaine Rideout, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Debo, thank you. Young Carvey, good seeing you.
Good seeing Carvey, boy.
Debo, thank you. Everybody. Hey, y'all, the good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.